Let's cut that out.
No, we're not cutting it out. As a matter of fact, you started it off with saying that. Christie, Ponjikin.
Cut it out, Dan. Oh, I'm being silly. No, I'm just being silly. You know when somebody does something and you say
Oh.
cut it out?
What was that old TV show? Cut it out.
Definitely don't know.
Oh, yes, you do.
That's beyond my years.
Family something. I don't remember. Welcome back. Season 3 or 14 or something. This is our 2025 into 2026 New Year's Eve. It's not quite Eve. The sun is still out, but it is our New Year's Eve podcast. And so 2025 is almost done, almost behind us. What do you think about that?
Like, how deep do you want me to go with this? I have a lot of thoughts.
No, yeah. It's crazy. We'll get into a lot, but I think the goal today is just a little bit of recap, a little bit of look forward. And wow, what a year. We said, I did not, I probably should have gone back and reviewed what our 2024 into 2025 podcast. But I recall some things. I know I had a word, execute. We talked about that. And yeah, I believe we executed. I executed.
A lot of execution going on in the Ponjikin family.
Not in like a bad kind of way.
Okay. Well, that should be.
It was a good year. It was a good year. A positive year, I think.
It was a hard year, I feel like. So each of us individually could probably say, different things about the year that, were good. I'm not saying it wasn't a good year. I think it was a hard year for me personally.
Yeah.
But there were good things in the year, for sure.
I would say for me, it was, we did hard things, but as a result, a lot of good happened. And thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, there's a lot of things, I talked about this on previous podcasts, but, there was a lot of things I wanted to do in my life at this, point in my life that I didn't do. And that kind of led me to my word for 2025, which I don't do that stuff, but I did this year and it worked. And it kind of worked.
Okay. You wrote it down. Remember we talked about you got to write it down.
I wrote it down. I've got my little journal thing here that I probably did way better at the beginning of the year than I have recently, but I wrote down, I should open it up. That's not going to make for good podcasting though. I should read it, but I said I want to execute on a lot of ideas and things that we're kind of dreaming about. And I would say almost all of them happened, which is pretty amazing.
Well, so that's the power of New Year's resolutions, which you were kind of like against last year. I remember thinking I've got to write a list, all the things I want to do, which the kids and I are going to write. It was kind of recommended to write like 300 things that you'd like to do in a year. And so I'm like, I think I'm going to do 50. And then our daughter was like, surely we can do 100. I'm like, okay. So at least she and I are going to write 100 things that we want to do this year. Haven't gotten our son on board with that quite yet to the degree of 100 things, but
or your husband.
Yeah. The idea though is to write 100 things down that you want to do in the year.
Yeah.
And read them every morning when you wake up and every night before you go to bed. And what's kind of been proven by at least this person who shared this information was at least 10% of those things are going to be marked off of your list. So then, that's not a huge, I feel like for me, if I write it down, it's going to be a larger percentage than 10%. Because I will accomplish things once I see it on paper a lot of times.
Yeah, totally. I would say that's all true. It just sounds horrible.
Well,
because for me, like it would be hanging over my head. 200, 300 things on a list would be so stressful.
Yeah, I think 100 things sounds like a lot. Maybe I read 50 in the morning and 50 at night.
Yeah.
And like pray over them and pray through them. Maybe some of that could, help. Or maybe like to me, what I feel like the hardest thing to get started is the ideas of what do I even want to do? Like that's crazy. I should know that, but I really am like,
Well, especially at that level of
And it
detail.
has to be tangible. It can't just be like, I want to feel happy or I want to,
Yeah.
it can't be like an inanimate thing. Like, really, it has to be kind of not an inanimate thing,
It's
but
got
you
to
know what
be
I'm
a
saying.
measurable outcome
Yes,
of
that's
some
right.
kind. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
get that.
So,
No, I get it. We have to do that kind of stuff for work. Definitely not 100. Definitely not,
mhm.
even 50. I'm more of like 5 things,
You're
5
like a high
categories.
level.
Yeah. High level strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I guess one of the things that's frustrating to me about New Year's resolutions, why I've never done them and making lists, generally speaking, is, stuff changes so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And, then you've got this list and it becomes irrelevant because, the conditions on the ground change. So especially when you're
Well,
talking like a whole year worth of 300, things you want to do, we don't know what 6 months from now is going to be. I mean, who knows?
so this is a conversation I was having with someone earlier, and yeah, you don't know the outcomes, but you still have to take the steps.
Well, the
We
step,
don't know,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like you can't just say things like, "Well, I'm afraid to," because I think the conditions on the ground changing. That to me sounds like and I know this is not your style, but it kind of sounds like fear of failure. So this is based on conversations I had earlier today. So just because you're afraid to fail or conditions may change and this is not even a possibility that I might reach these goals, it doesn't mean you don't set them. You have to set goals. You have to want to accomplish things in your life.
and I don't want to dwell on this too long.
Yeah, okay.
But I think, yes, what you said makes sense. But to me, goals would be like 5 things. It doesn't sound like goals. That
Oh, it's so exciting.
sounds
Like
like a
when you
project
say it,
plan. It sounds like,
oh, it's like overwhelming and exciting at the same time because it's like how much it's almost like feels like a game like how much can I actually accomplish in a year?
yeah,
Oh,
good.
and there are some that
That's
are
great.
huge. They're going to be huge. Like
I think it needs to be. So here's how I would. Again, you got to do it for what works for you. But I think, I don't know. Have you ever seen like a Gantt chart, a project?
yes.
Yeah. So collapsible. You can have 300 in the
Mm,
end, but it's got to collapse down to 5 categories.
mm,
And then within those, it's not even like 5 straight to like 300. I would be like 5 and then some subcategories, and that I can get
mm,
behind. But I don't know that for me personally,
mm,
it'd be worth the effort to flush out the 5 into the 300. I may
mm,
be on board with starting. I mean, I already got to 5 or 7, I think it was. Um, and then flushing it out to, 14, some
mm.
more detail with it, but like not that level of detail.
But so I'm thinking of things like, we have a lot of parks in this area, like,
Hmm.
or we can, like we've talked about, we want to travel more. We really are so terrible at traveling.
We got to do better.
We're so terrible at it. So,
And let's
um,
clarify for everybody. We're not bad when we put our mind to it. Like we've done some epic trips.
yes, but
But we just don't take the time to do it. We get so busy and distracted and in the grind
in
that
the day to day,
we don't take the time with our family to go enjoy life enough. And we're gonna do
we
better.
don't.
We're gonna
Yeah.
do better.
So, but that's like something like there are like some parks, maybe some national parks, some
Yeah.
hiking trails, like go hike this
Yeah.
trail.
Yeah.
That's one of my 300. Like, that's what I'm saying.
That's great. No.
Or it's not gonna be 300, it's gonna be 100 probably.
Yeah.
But
No, I get it. But to me, again, instead of saying like go hike the Linville Caverns, trail on, before this day, I would just say, you know, uh,
like spend time hiking with the family.
not even hiking, not even say hiking, like
Oh, spend time
do more,
outdoors.
4 travel excursions in 2026 with the family,
Okay.
you know?
Send me your dates and I'll
No,
fill
no, no.
them
But
up.
that's what I'm saying. No dates.
But this is the thing.
Dates set me up for failure.
I have to have dates so that I can book hotels
Christie
and
likes deadlines. Yeah. I
I
do not. With that said,
I want to say something. And
please,
this is
that
like
is what podcasting's about.
okay. This is not necessarily a positive thing.
Ugh.
And it's going down a rabbit hole. I'm so sorry. But I was just being real. I made this statement to someone not long ago that when you're dating,
Hmm.
opposites attract.
I don't know if that's completely
Well, the
true.
saying goes that way.
Yeah.
Opposites attract. 26 years in, as we are,
Hmm.
opposites do not attract.
No.
I mean, they need to complement. Like, what I'm saying
Well,
is
that's the right way to say it. Compliment.
they need to complement each other.
Like in
Like, because
art.
there are some things where, like, in the beginning, I think when you're dating, it's like, oh, this person has this or that, and I don't have that, and I want that, or whatever. And then, but then when you grow together, it's like actually opposites are more divisive, I feel like.
I think it's the wrong
They
word.
can be.
It's the wrong word. Because when we say opposites attract, you think like, things that are literally, hot and cold and all that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think of it in art. I remember in high school, I was thinking like my life was going to be more of an artist before I
Mm-hmm.
kind of went in the technical track. And I had an art teacher, and like we all
Which
did.
I'm thankful you did because,
Yeah, it worked out.
what they say about starving artists. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
I feel bad about
Well,
that.
I give a lot of credit. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. Just my art base. I think I was more a creative in my younger years than I was analytical, but I feel like that helped me a lot. But anyways,
Okay.
we all remember in middle school and high school art classes, you learn about the primary colors and how, the three colors, red, blue, yellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are to make a beautiful painting, you can't have a beautiful painting where it's all shades of red or all shades of blue. You literally have to take the opposite. So what is it? A triangle, right? The
Mm-hmm.
color triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Blue and yellow makes green.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the opposites.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're
that's,
making me think of the Wiggles. We used to
yeah,
listen to that
well,
when
that's the
it's no,
point. So
yes.
that's a context of opposites attract. I think that makes more sense. But opposites in the pure, like, this person, absolutely, loves going outside. The other one hates going outside. Well, that's not going to work out too
Yeah.
well.
So why did that, where was that phrase coined? Like, how was
Probably more
it?
in the context of art, like that
Yeah.
concept where
Oh, okay. So never
complementary.
with relationships then? Because I hear it
I think
all the
so.
time with relationships.
I think we just think of it the wrong way. But
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So what were we saying before that?
mm,
Opposites attract.
mm, mm, mm,
I
mm.
was saying I didn't want to be negative, but I do feel like you need to be like your mate in some
You got
ways.
to be like-minded, more so than opposite. Yeah,
You have to.
you got to have a lot of common ground.
So that's a note to those who are in
Yeah.
that stage of their lives, dating and looking for
Hmm.
their, um, significant other, their current, maybe I know I said current husband not long ago and you really hated that.
That whole
It was
thing.
pretty funny.
I found that whole viral
Mhm.
trend.
Yeah. So anyways, but that
Yeah,
was
no, you
fun.
you got to have common ground. You
You
got to have
have
common
to.
interest for sure.
Like I would say a lot.
I mean, it's okay to have your own things that you're interested in. I love going to jujitsu, love playing jujitsu, training jujitsu. You're not interested, so that's good.
Oh, I
That's
want to
fine.
be so bad. Maybe this is the year I join jujitsu.
Well, my
Maybe
bro.
maybe I compete. Woo.
Oh my
What if I
goodness,
compete?
easy now.
I can do it.
Yeah,
I know I can.
sure you can.
I can do anything.
Well, so let's recap. 2024. We said, I think we were talking about a year of change, and we definitely had some changes. But 2025, let's recap some of the big things that happened. I'll start in my life. Some of
Okay.
them definitely involve you.
Okay.
But I started a new job. So this time last year,
Mm.
I was in the depths of despair of unemployment. Thinking my life is over.
Okay.
I mean,
That's so dramatic. And
yeah,
that's not really true.
drama makes good podcasting.
Ah,
But yeah, I know that, and there's a point I want to share on this podcast. I think I'm ready to kind of talk about this. I've talked about some people close to me, but yeah, I lost my last job in November,
November
right
of
before Thanksgiving
2024.
of 24.
Yeah, it was like November 6th.
So by this point of the year, the shock of it was wearing off, and the reality of, starting in January, it's going to be the
Hmm.
grind to find, and it was. I remember by this point last year, the reality of it was sinking in, and the fact that
But
I
you
didn't
got a
have,
nice severance. And so
I
we
did,
were okay
but I'm
financially.
a planner. I,
Yes.
I think forward, especially when it comes to finances. So I was like, okay, I have this much time until some changes will have to be made. So the reality and the anxiety of it started setting in. But anyways, and I want to say a few things about that later. But yeah, by April, I was uh, accepting a position with the current company, and it's been fantastic. It's been stressful, but
Mhm.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Uh,
You've grown in some areas probably
yeah,
that you never
yeah.
maybe you didn't even intend to, but now you're
Yeah, it's a different role, my professional side, and I don't want to bore people with it, but I'm a IT leader, a technology leader, and it's the first. It was definitely a step forward and up in terms of responsibility and obligation, and all good stuff. Though I'm enjoying it. I think it's
Mhm.
it's been fulfilling. So
Mhm.
that's a big thing that happened.
Yeah, and so while you were not employed, that's when we started this podcast. We're like, "Oh, we've got a lot of time on our
We had a
hands."
lot of time.
Yeah.
I had
And
a lot
how
of
many
time.
podcasts did we end up doing? Like,
We did a lot, and that was good.
yeah,
I
we
think
got
it.
started. Let's say it that way. We
Yeah, we're gonna keep doing it. Obviously, I don't have that
I
kind of
think we said
time.
once a week. I
That's
think
what
we
we
were
were
saying
doing.
once a
Well,
week.
we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did for a while there. Around this time of year, we were hitting a cadence of weekly podcasts, which is awesome. And who knows? Maybe that will happen again in the future. But yeah, I think that I learned a lot during that time, but it was
Mm,
stressful.
mm. And that's when you said, "Hey, Christy, let's start a business."
So we started a business. We'd been talking. I had been talking. I've started businesses, but nothing formally. And you know, I shouldn't say formally. I had businesses, from real estate to e-commerce and all kind of stuff. But I thought let's jump, go all in, invest, and we started a vending business,
Mhm.
Snack Smart Solutions,
At your
at your
service.
service.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been good. That's been a learning
Yeah,
process. Some
that's a lot of learning.
some ups and downs,
Yeah.
and you've really stepped up. I give you a lot of credit.
Well, I mean, what am I gonna do? I can't just
Well,
let
you
it
could,
fail.
sure, you could have. You could have been like,
No.
Dan, this was your,
That's
thing, and
no, that's not me.
I know, but to your credit, I think you've really, you brought a lot of, excellence and growth into that business.
Mm,
It's been interesting. We learned a
yeah.
lot. I wouldn't say it's fun, but I feel like I see a path for it to be what I envision it to be. With
Mm,
potentially, career replacing income, and
mhm. Yeah, I have a goal. I've stated it a few times of 10 machines by the end of June.
hmm
I think I wanna do that. And we have 3 placed right now. We
you
have
have three.
4
Yep.
purchased and 1 we're waiting to
One's
locate.
sitting in Chattanooga, Tennessee, waiting for a home.
Yeah, and then we're gonna buy some more.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
So we had our first placement in July,
Yep.
and then our second one came December 4th, and our third one
Long
came
time.
December 9th.
Yeah.
So we had a good bit of time to kind of tweak and learn a little bit about the whole
Yeah.
business from
Yeah.
July to December, which we kind of were getting like, come on, let's get these placed a little bit. But then it was like, we needed that time. And we really, I feel like, so it's at an extended stay motel. So
Right.
the crowd changes. So sometimes it's hard to know what products are going to sell and the pricing and all that kind of stuff. But
But generally speaking, I think we
I
got it
feel like,
figured out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we've kind of, we've at least, I think, experienced at least 1 month of the highest level of possible optimization that we could do?
I would
So,
say our good, I think we decided it was October. Rising.
yeah,
Surprising how much money can be made from a single vending machine in
yeah.
a location that you would never think would
Mhm.
generate this kind of income. I don't know if we want to share numbers, but it was a lot of money. It was good.
Yeah,
Very, very impressive.
yeah.
I will say, and I think I probably had a hunch of this, but for anybody listening thinking like, "Oh, I'll go do that. That sounds like a great idea." You know, the execution of a vending business, all that, it's all simple as you would imagine it is. Getting the machines, buying them. Obviously, you could spend a lot of money as we did on the machines, or you can go buy cheap ones, but it's all in like finding the locations. That was
Mhm.
far harder than I
Mhm.
thought it was going to be,
Mhm.
and continues to be the most difficult part of growing
Mhm.
this kind of business. But
Mhm. I would say too, like some of the technology that's connected to the machine itself, since it's a smart machine, that's a little bit of a learning curve for me.
yeah,
But that's easy for you. But
but even, I mean, you're figuring it out. Like,
I am, yeah.
with almost no involvement from me and help from me, you're figuring it out. So
One other thing is like the products. I want to be sure that, like, I don't think about expiring products very much. Like,
yeah,
so that's something else you got. It's like this kind of revolving door, which I knew was going to be
yeah,
like product in, product out, product in, product like. But then it's like, wait a minute, that's not selling. Wait, okay, well that's expired. We've got to get that out of the machine, find a replacement, and so I worry that I don't ever want to waste money.
yeah. Yeah, optimizing that stuff. And 2025 was the year of AI exploding on the scene, and I'm definitely trying to get some AI agents and workflows to kind of optimize and automate that. And, hopefully that can make our lives better and make the business more successful. But yeah, that was a big deal for us. I think it's going to continue to be a big thing for us. I see growth there, and I see a path. I
Yeah,
think that's pretty exciting.
I do.
I definitely learned it was more difficult to find locations, but good stuff. What's the other big thing that happened in 2025?
So, yeah, we launched Freedom City Church.
Yep.
It's got the merch to prove it.
Freedom City launched October the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the biggest deal of 2025 for us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Big moves, making waves.
Yeah. Can I tell that story?
Why not? Go
Okay,
ahead.
but I'll just make it quick.
So yeah, protect the names.
Okay, so we were invited to someone's, it was like a rental
A
lake
vacation home.
house, a
Yeah.
vacation home, and we were invited to join for an afternoon. And so we went there, and the kids were out enjoying the boat ride and tubing and all the stuff. And I was like, well, I'm going to stay close back to the house here. Everybody was gone, just me. And I was sitting on this dock. It was a floating dock. And it was just going up and down. And, jet skis were going by. And then it just stopped. And I was just sitting there looking out as far, as the eye can see, as they say. And um, I was like sitting there and I was praying, just quietly sitting in the sun. I just remember being there. It was so wonderful. We should get a lake house, by the way, or a beach house. Something by the water would be wonderful. But yeah, and I remember just sitting there and I said something to the Lord, like kind of show me, and then it was like all of a sudden this huge wave came, and the dock rocking up and down, and I'm moving, and I'm like, there's nothing here at all. Like, there's no jet skis, there's nothing causing that. So I was like, all right, if that's really you, God, what is that, like Gideon, right? If that's really you, then make that happen again. Are you really telling me something here? And because what I felt impressed was, I really felt like these were the words. That's your problem. You've been so busy riding other people's waves.
Time to make your own waves.
Time to make your own waves. Like, get out of the wake
Mm-hmm.
and get up to the handlebars, like, of the jet ski or behind the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, if you really said that's my problem, that I'm riding on the waves, then
So you shared that
confirm it.
with a friend.
Yeah. So I was like, confirm that. And literally, I mean, here I go again. Literally, the dock raised up and there's nothing there. I kept going, there's nothing here to make this happen. And so I did. I shared it with a friend. And I'm like, hey, I think we're supposed to be making the waves, not riding the waves. And told them this story. Next thing I know, they're totally making waves.
They took your promise. They made a big move. This family that was hosting this trip. And it was very impressive, very bold. And I remember both of us saying,
I love that. It's so inspiring. But go ahead.
you love bold moves. No, I think that motivated us a little bit, in part. It's a family that we've been close to in the past and kind of lost touch. They lived several states away, now live in the same state. Um, yeah. And so we
Yeah.
decided to make some waves of our own.
Yeah, I feel like that was the Lord really kind of calling me out.
Now, let me just say here, making waves sometimes has a negative connotation.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, no.
we didn't decide like in a negative way that we want to make waves in like, when I say make, and I know you're feeling this too, I'm clarifying for both of us. When we say making waves, we've never decided like we want to disrupt other people or other
No.
organizations or all that. That is not who we
No.
are.
No.
But
And I didn't even think about that until you just said that. I would feel terrible if that's the way that
Yeah.
came across.
Well, that expression sometimes can have that connotation, but
Mhm.
I think we both just, we both recognize that there's been some areas that we somewhat have been sitting on the sidelines and riding the wake, like you said, instead
Mhm.
of making our own waves. And that's kind of the thing. Make your own waves.
Mhm. Well, kind of like make your own impact in the world.
Right.
That's really what I think that
Drive
that
the
was
boat,
me.
making the waves instead of
Right.
riding a
Yeah.
surfboard in the back of, somebody else's boat,
Yeah.
which is what we were doing at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So, yeah. So, that was, that was probably 2024.
Mm.
It was
I think
24. And
in the
yeah,
summer, or no, it was like August, September.
yeah. So the end of summer 24. And that,
Mhm.
sort of helped motivate us that, and amongst many other things in life. Yeah. Really almost the whole of 2025, the beginning.
To be clear, though, we didn't know for sure
Yeah.
if we would even be living here through April of last year
Well,
when you
that's what I was
got your
getting at.
job.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. So like
Yes.
all 25, we were in this transition state um with my job and life, and we didn't know if we were going to leave, but we solidified our decision once, we found out that I had, been gainfully employed again and
Mhm.
remote,
Remote, yeah.
so I can stay here, we can stay in our home, we can stay in this area. And we decided to partner with some friends of ours that we had grown very close to in launching a church here in the Piedmont Triad of North Carolina. And
Mhm.
Freedom City Church it is. So we launched
Mhm.
officially October the 12th.
Mhm.
Uh, so obviously we spent a lot of time, throughout the summer and spring and summer to planning and building up to our launch, which was awesome. We had a great launch service, a lot of people helping. It was a lot of fun. And we're in the humble beginnings of a new church in North Carolina here.
So we were, this was my bright idea. I don't know, I'm saying that. I don't know if you feel like it's a bright idea, but I said, you know what, let's take today, each of us have taken some time today to create a portion of a coat of arms, is what I said. Let's do that. Something new we've never done before, but we're each taking a quadrant and drawing out like just some symbolism of whether it's our, part of our history, our past, but also like some aspirations. Um, who are we as a family? So,
Should I share it?
yeah, you can share yours and I can share mine. The kids are still working on theirs, I think. But so my point though in saying that is, what was my point in saying that?
Sorry.
Hmm. Yeah. We were talking about, oh, yeah. So as I was working on that, creating my part of the quadrant
Hmm.
earlier, it was really cool because it we were using AI a little bit to help us kind of hone down to the specifics. And one of the options was open hands, open arms. And I'm like, that's what I say I want Freedom City to be. It's like, wow, I didn't even say that, but it picked up on that. And so, yeah, Freedom City is. We're not even 3 months in because October to November, November to December, we're not even 3 months in. But I feel like the contacts that we've made with people and just really, really having that mindset of open arms. And, uh, one of the things that uh, some of our ministry partners talk about is like, you're going to be seen, you're going to be heard, you're going to be accepted, you're going to be loved. And I saw that playing out in my quadrant of the coat of arms.
So here's what it looks like
Can you show
for
it?
those of you that watching. Yep. So
Okay.
the bottom two quadrants are empty because our children are still working on their contributions. But
Did you add mine?
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, mine is the upper left. Christie's is the bold sword with the mandala there. Yeah.
And the clocks.
Stay
Hmm.
tuned. Ponjican coat of arms coming near you.
Yeah. I wanted to do that. I don't know. Because I was looking, you know what it was? I was looking up some family history stuff and I went back, and you're not going to probably believe this, but maybe you will. I went back to like 300. You're
From
300.
from your family side.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I,
Yeah.
I went
Oh, you
with
saw
you.
it.
Yeah.
So they had coats of arms, and I'm
Yeah.
going,
Christie's
wow, this
family
is amazing.
has a lot of Northern European
Sir,
royalty.
sir,
Yeah,
lady. I'm
lady,
like,
this, that, Prussian, German.
mm-hmm. I
eh,
saw back to the Roman Empire. I'm like, what in the
Yeah,
world? This is amazing. I was enamored with this last
It's
night.
through the, well, I don't know if you
It's
went to
like
the same website,
it's
but it's
Family Search. I think
it's
it's
the
like
Mormon
Mormon.
Church's genealogy website, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't done that, we're not Mormon,
No.
but they've got awesome genealogy. I think it's part of their doctrine or theology, I should say. But if you go there,
Family
familysearch.org,
Search.
I
Family Search
believe.
dot something. I don't know,
I think
but
it's familysearch.org. If you go there, it's free, totally free. It's sponsored by the Mormon Church, and you can search your genealogy. And mine is dead because we were kind of Eastern European peasants. But Christie's family has a lot of
wow,
rich
it
history
goes
with a lot of
back.
documentation because of
Wow.
the royalty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got to see my papal's um registration for
Hmm. Did
when he was
draft.
drafted. Did
Yeah,
you see that?
I did.
I'm like, this is crazy. And they talk about complexion, they talk about height, weight,
Hmm.
complexion, and his complexion, they wrote ruddy. I'm like, I'm not loving that, but I think it just means like ruddy, RUDDY. Like in the
Oh,
Bible, I
like he's
think
red, like high blood pressure.
like kind of like healthy,
Hmm.
red face, kind of.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah. And I didn't realize he wasn't so tall. I mean, so
Your dad's dad?
yeah, 5'8".
I've
Is
never
that
met
tall?
him, so yeah.
I know. He
No, that's
passed when I
quite
was
short.
7. He
Yeah.
was 5'8".
Yeah, that's quite short.
Well, at least on that document. But I was able to look at the actual document that he signed to join World War II. It's
That's
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was on the phone with my mom while I was looking at this stuff, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's absolutely like the name." She was confirming she knows those
Mm.
names, and even for her dad's side of the family, it was so cool. Man, there were so many sir this, lady this. There was even a king.
No,
I'm
I've
like,
seen it.
what in the world?
Yeah,
I
I've
am
gone through it.
absolutely royalty here,
Yep.
people. The Bible says we are, so
Uh,
a royal.
no, your papa might have been ready. I'm a little jelly of all
It's
the
ruddy. RUDDY.
ruddy.
It's ruddy.
I thought you said ready.
You're a
Okay.
little jelly of what?
Of how much history, like I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's
I
so.
wish I had that in my family, but ours kind of dies out after 4 or 5 generations. There's just no
Yeah.
documentation.
Wow. We go so far back.
Very far.
I love it.
No.
And I like, because there's so many, because they have children, then you can go to there. And I didn't do that. I just did
Hmm.
dads all the way back. It was just so
It's
fun.
incredible. Yeah,
I
that's a lot
loved
of
it.
fun.
But that's what prompted this coat of arms. We don't do that every year. And I'd like to make it a tradition for our
Well, you're
family.
supposed to establish it and leave it.
I
I don't think you
know.
change it. It's supposed to be like
Well,
generational, like you leave that.
I do love that. I told our daughter, I love that and also love the idea of if we need to change it, then we can. But I think as a whole, like Steven's family too, I want to have one for our whole broader family. I
Hmm.
don't know how that can work, but I did express that in a group chat earlier this morning. We'll see what we come up with. But I told our daughter I want to get like the dripping wax and the little emblem, and then we can.
Oh, a
Is that too
seal?
much? Oh, is it too much? It's kind of much, isn't it?
You're thinking, yeah.
Listen, I'm royalty,
Okay.
so
Well, all right. All right.
we'll see.
You're
I
my queen. So,
Oh, why? Thank you. But
all right.
that's fun.
Let's talk 2026. So, tomorrow is 2026. So, I think I have my word already. I don't know if I know we talked about this yesterday or day before. Um, like as soon as it popped up when we're talking, right away I knew my word. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I didn't even fulfill my word last year.
Well, but this is the problem with 300 to-do list.
No, but I didn't even do that last year.
Yeah.
I did a word. I think it was silly. No, I have not been silly this year.
My word for 25 was execute, and my word for 26 is going to be scale. So, not like lose weight because you're stepping on the scale,
Oh,
but
yeah.
scale, like grow, scale.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's my. I mean, it just makes sense. Like
Yeah.
the church, we started it. Now it's time to grow it.
Yeah.
A business, we started it. It's time to grow it. Um, my career, scale my career. Our kids are both at a point. Our daughter, just with her education, it's time to help her scale and sees, she's really going to start transitioning from sort of high school to college probably in the next year or two. Yeah,
Oh, like months probably.
probably, well, we'll
Yeah.
see. But, our son, he's got a lot of things that he's got, I want to help him grow in, both athletically and intellectually. So, yeah,
They
scale.
both basically he wants to start a business, and
Hmm.
so we're gonna be all in on that.
Our
Our
daughters
daughter has
basically
a
has a
business,
business, yeah,
yeah,
which is incredible. I
with
love that.
crocheting. She's gotten so good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I want to focus on. So anybody that knows me knows I'm quickly becoming the AI guy, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, that's the mark of the beast." No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go on that path, but um, I do. I'm very kind of bullish on AI, and I've been using it to kind of brainstorm and help develop my strategy for 26. And I shared this with you. I think I read it maybe even this
Mm.
morning, but
Mm. Last night
last night
for drive-in.
there was some things that I kind of helped put together that have really, I don't know, they've good stuff. I feel like writing this kind of stuff out. And again, I'm not big on this, but I'm becoming that guy. I think it's really helping me realize some successes and failures from my past. Um, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's interesting when you think about, a space of time like a new year, 2026, and you start writing like, okay, what's my strategic plan, which is what I'm working on here. And as you go through the exercise, you obviously have to reflect in the past and helps you see why you might have not been successful or why you have been successful, what attributes and things that you do
Mhm.
as you go through that exercise. So it's been interesting.
Mm.
It's been interesting.
That's one thing I feel like over this Christmas holiday, um, has it stood out to me a lot that like whatever you're feeling, like whatever maybe there's a circumstance and you're like, well, this happened or, this didn't happen. It's like it's never going to be the surface. You've got to dig like I think my brother and I'm sure somebody else came up with this, but he's like, you ask yourself why 7 times and then you get to the root of it.
Yeah.
The
So I
seven
heard
whys.
5 whys or 7 whys.
Whatever,
Yeah.
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 But that's like it's so good. It's so hard to be honest with yourself and go, "Wow, I failed in this area because why? Because
Hmm.
well, this happened. Well, why?" And you go down the line and then it's like, "Whoa, that's kind of a deep-rooted
Yeah.
possible lifelong issue or maybe like I call it the hamster wheel. You just kind of get in this
Hmm.
behavioral pattern that you don't even realize you're in. It's like you're in autopilot. So I love that you've taken the time to look at what you've, been successful at or what you may be able to work on and really you know, it's hard to understand and
Yeah.
to force yourself to go to those deeper levels and then address them
Yeah.
and change them. That's really hard.
I think that comes with maturing. When you're young, I think, different phases of your life, not, younger than I am anyway. I'm almost 50, but, there's certain phases of life, at least for me, where you're just trying to keep your head above water.
Mhm.
I didn't feel like I had the bandwidth or the wherewithal to even build a strategic plan like I am now. But, it's so valuable. It's so important, I think, to reflect and project
Mm.
and to really understand, like you said, the whys.
Mhm.
And it's not difficult in many cases, really just sitting down, this is a great time of year to do it. I don't think you have to wait till New Year's, but sitting down and sort of building out a strategy for your life. Um, I think it's pretty easy to uncover a lot of those whys. I don't think it
Mm.
takes five. For example, like when I was writing, I was just digging it up here as you were talking to remind me what it said, but there was one thing that I wrote in sort of my three non-negotiable rules for 2026. I'll just read them. And the last one, which is so impactful to me. But number one was no initiative without measurable impacts. So in other words, like don't do things that you can't measure if they were successful or not.
Right. Don't spin your wheels.
Right.
Waste your time.
Number two speaks to kind of focus. So no side projects without leverage. So, definitely a victim of that in my past where, I get distracted and focus on things that are not necessarily my strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And then number three just was a gut punch and sort of eye opening. Um, no exhaustion masquerading as faithfulness.
Mhm.
That I've lived there for a long time. And, that ties into there's a lot in this strategic plan I put together, talking about personal wellness and certainly in ministry. Uh, so many times we think the harder we work and the more exhausted we are, at least in the religious tradition that we're our, past was a part of. It was sort of encouraged, that the more ragged out you are, the more you're earning heaven. And I don't want to be facetious here, but that's kind of a lot of, I think a lot of churches sort of preach that tone, not necessarily directly in words, but that tone. The last year, um, I've learned a lot just going through, there's the last half of 25 was certainly like doing a lot, like we just talked about, but there was a space, I would say, in the first half of 25, which I want to talk more about. I alluded to it earlier, but, um, where for the first time in a long time, there was a space of quiet for me, a disconnect from ministry, a disconnect from career, a disconnect from almost everything, relationships. And there was a space of
S
time where I had like forced quiet.
Yeah, that was really hard. It was a really hard time, and but also looking back, you can
Yeah.
share.
And I want to share some things about that, but that's, I wanted to kind of bring that up because in 26 and really for the rest of my life, I want to take this learning. It's one of my focuses is, uh, exhaustion doesn't mean faithfulness. We shouldn't masquerade exhaustion and burnout as, well, you're being faithful, you got an extra jewel in your crown and all that. Really, that's not in the Bible.
Right, and
You don't,
anyways, we're gonna cast our crown at the feet of Jesus, so
well,
what's the
regardless, your
point?
crowns aren't, I think this
I don't mean to
concept,
say what's the point, I should be careful
yeah,
about that,
no,
but
no,
you
no,
understand what I'm
I
saying.
do. But I think the main point for me personally is, um, protect your family, protect yourself, your wellness, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and know that God's faithfulness is what matters. We have to be faithful to Him, but
Mhm.
our service should be out of love, not out of obligation. So, if it's okay, I just want to kind of share this thing that I alluded to. So, going back to 24, my last job, it was a highly demanding and stressful job. Christie saw me like I was stuck here in this seat in my office, my home office. I couldn't even get away for lunch. I was running to the bathroom while I'm on calls and meetings. It was just demanding, pulling me, and it was very, very stressful. And Christy felt it, I felt it, and you and I had many conversations about it, and I probably even said, maybe you can tell me if you remember, but I probably said like I just need a break. I need like to disconnect for a while, but I couldn't because work and it was
Well, yeah, and so because we had other things going on in our lives as
yes.
well at the same time
Yes, good point.
that were really very challenging,
There was
very
things were
hard.
stacking up on
Yes.
me personally,
Mhm.
emotionally, spiritually, physically, and
Mhm.
it
S
was
so
a
I think
difficult time.
yeah, so I think the job part was like it's like
It was the
the
face of it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
And the other stuff was like didn't you felt it, but there wasn't a lot of communication about it. It was just kind of like just move forward, move forward, move forward. Like keep your head above the water kind of if you can kind of thing. So, yeah, it
yeah,
was a lot. It was a lot.
yeah. And whether I articulated it, to you or to people around me much, I was definitely praying and asking God for like a lifeline.
Yeah.
You know, I really wanted a break. Obviously, at the time in hindsight, and even now, when you pray that way, you want to be careful not to, for God to answer your prayer in a way that ultimately happened to me, where you get laid off, your job goes away,
Mhm.
which is what happened. And so, I don't want to drag it out, but, so I found out, I think, the Monday before Thanksgiving that, basically handed a severance package. You're done. And like I already said, it was it, you go through all the phases of that kind of stuff. A lot of people listening and watching have gone through this, so I don't need to
Mm,
describe how it is. Losing a job is never fun, especially when you're married. You have two kids, you have a home, mortgage, and and I'm happen to be a single earner home. I support my family, so uh, it was stressful.
mm,
So, uh, you know, going through Christmas, going through New Year, I think I shared it with several people. That was it ended up being busy, being unemployed and searching for a job. My old boss, who was kind of my mentor, he got laid off 8 months before I did at the same company. We had stayed in touch, still do. He used to tell me, I was asking him during the beginning of 24, like, hey, how you doing? Keeping in touch. And he's like, man, he's like, I've never been busier. He's like, who knew that job search was more work than actually working?
mm,
And it was true. And I was like grinding, trying to find the right opportunity, trying to start a business because I was like, what if I don't find a job? What if AI is taking all jobs? Which it still might, but I was really worried. And so I, focusing on starting a business where we got this church thing going on, a lot going on, a lot of noise in my head during that time.
mhm.
All that to say, as I alluded to, by April, and people listening are like, oh, please, I know people that were unemployed for over a year. From November to April was my
Mhm.
unemployment time. I
5 months.
5 months, and I had a lot of leads. It's not like it was just all quiet and all of a sudden. It was overall. I was very fortunate
Mm,
and landed a great role at a great company with a great compensation package and everything. All that to say, that part, I'm not going to dwell on it too much, but what convicted me later, still to this day, is after it's all said and done, and I'm working and I'm back in the grind, and again, better job for sure, better company. I'm happy, but what hit me was I didn't take advantage of a prayer answered from God, that a
mm.
gift, a season of time where
Like a
again,
Sabbath almost.
like this beautiful 5 month Sabbath that was offered to me, probably as a direct answer to prayer that I prayed. And I spent it just stressed out. I didn't sleep. There's many nights I just couldn't sleep. I was stressing about it. Um, and it's a huge, huge lesson to me because I really feel like while it seemed like a trial in the moment,
Mhm,
um, and I sort of exhausted myself trying to get out of that trial. It was really a gift. It was a moment of space of quiet and a space of Sabbath, like you said, that I didn't take advantage of at all.
mhm,
And I wanted to share that because, I know a lot of people, go through a lot of things and they may be difficult in the moment, but for me, the learning was, and what I want to learn into 26 is, uh, are these trials, are these difficult times you're going through actually gifts that God has
mhm,
given you in order to facilitate something better?
mhm.
For me, it was,
Yeah.
and I didn't take advantage of it at all.
Psalm 23 comes to mind. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He, how does it go? He leadeth me in
He
paths of righteousness for his name's sake. I might be getting them confused, but the point is,
he prepares a table before me in the presence of
mm-hmm,
my enemies is the one that kind of pops out.
oh, I love that. But my point is that he's he wants you to lay down.
No,
He maketh the Lord is my shepherd. I
he
have all that I
makes you.
need. It says he maketh me to lay down in green pastures.
Yeah.
He maketh you lay down. He leads me. I've oftentimes looked at the verbs there. He makes me lay down. He leads me
Mm-hmm.
beside still waters. He restores my soul. I just love these action verbs, really, these action words that help us to understand, the whole be still and know that I am God. I'll be exalted above the heavens. And I got to work on this. I'm just going to say, I've got to work on the stillness. I've got to work on, okay, that Sabbath stuff. I know we've talked about that in our family, but being busy all the time and feeling exhausted all the time,
You're not
Like
helping anybody.
God deserves, he deserves me.
You know,
He deserves my
that's the
love,
ultimate goal.
you know?
The ultimate goal is
I
relationship
don't
with
want to
you.
say deserves, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I know what you're
Like
saying.
it's, if I'm so distracted with everything else in this world that's so temporary,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and really, I don't know, like, I think it's worth just taking a closer look for everyone who's listening in, maybe asking themselves, what areas am I actually making impact?
Yeah.
And lean into those things. If eternal impact,
Yeah.
not just money in your pocket, eternal impact. In what ways are you serving and loving others
Yeah.
deeply and unconditionally? Those are the things that are going to impact someone's eternity. So being busy, what are we doing? And truly, too, if our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit, which I believe that they are, I don't want to say this is going to sound like, woo, Chrissy's lost her mind, but going to the gym is really important.
Yeah.
We're honoring our body. Like right now, I'm on this diet. It's so hard. I'm like, I'm not having rice. I'm not having potatoes, no pasta, no bread, and trying to have no sugar.
Didn't do so well this week, did you?
No, I didn't. Last night, in fact, I had a little bit of ice cream. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. But no, like, that's something just that I'm doing, and I've seen some differences in myself, but it's like, you know what? God is, if my body is the temple, of his spirit, I want to do better. And that doesn't make me, um, prideful, or that doesn't
No.
make me like, worshiping myself or
No.
anything like that. It's like, let's honor God with what we've
Well,
been given. And that's true in stewardship and in every area of our lives is the way it needs to be,
yeah.
I
And I
think.
think it's worth reminding ourselves and people that regardless of how much you work, like it's really just a token, an offering in a sense, in the grand scheme of the kingdom of God. God can snap his fingers and change everything, and he
Yeah.
often does. The supernatural is way bigger than anything. Your life's long of blood, sweat, and tears is a drop in the bucket. That's
Mm-hmm.
not to say you shouldn't work for the kingdom. Like, as a matter of fact, if you live in North Carolina, we need help at Freedom City, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all about that. But at the same time, God is sovereign and omnipotent and omniscient. So like exhausting yourself, I don't think it's the will of God. I'm, at the point of, that's why that thing's just resonated to me as I built this plan, you know, exhaustion masquerading as faithfulness.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself, protect yourself.
Yeah.
And I think you brought up a great point. It reminded me of this post, and I don't want to shame anybody, but you know, Christians so often, especially ministry behind the pulpit voices, you know, I know if you sat down with them and had a theological discussion, they wouldn't say that this is the case, but they often talk like
Like they project it.
they project that the church is the temple of God. And, the physical building and the gathering is the temple of God, but it is not.
Mm-hmm.
We are the temple of God.
Mm-hmm.
And, somebody posted on Facebook and said, something about, the temple and how we need to honor it more, and they were speaking to, their church building and the sanctuary of the building, that they need to honor it more. And some facetious person, put in, in the comments like, well, actually, your body is the temple and you should
Mm-hmm.
think far more about taking care of the temple in that sense and then the actual building in a, church
Mm-hmm.
sanctuary.
And that doesn't mean that we don't believe in fellowship and coming together.
All the
Obviously,
more,
clearly, we
all the
have
more,
made that. Yeah.
all the more we believe that. But
Yeah.
the thing is, what is sanctified, what God died for is our body. That is the temple.
Mm.
Um,
For our souls to live eternally with Him. And um, yeah, there's something else I was going to say about that. Kind of slipped my mind. Hmm.
yeah. So what about you? What about
Hmm.
your 2026?
I think I was kind of wrestling with the word
Mm-hmm.
a few days ago, and I'm not quite ready to share it. Well,
Do you have something that sort of you're leaning towards, a spirit of kind of a directional notion or no?
I know this is gonna sound probably cliche and especially connected to like Freedom City, but just um accepting freedom though. Like I think that's kind of where I'm at a little bit open, free.
Mm. Embracing freedom?
Yeah, I think so. There's so much that I think, in parenting that can be fearful. And I'm, trying to think through some tough stuff that will
We got some
help
difficult
us to
things.
feel,
Yeah.
um,
Growing pains.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so that,
Yeah.
I will say this though. I mentioned to you not long ago, hey, why don't we just open our house for people to come and just have meals here and I'll serve them and they can do like team building events here and all this stuff. And I'm like, ooh, and I'm just going to serve them and I don't have to be part of it at all. I just
Well, to
want
be
to
clear,
give
Christy
them
was
like
like,
one of the best experiences.
we're going
And
to rent out our house to
yeah,
30
I did.
people. I was like,
No, I said, yes, I said, let's rent out our,
like an event center.
yeah. And I would just love to like ladies' teas or whatever and
Yeah.
just, all wholesome stuff that people can come and just feel like they're being waited on and loved and served.
Hit me up in the comments if I can crash at your place.
And Dan's like, you are such an extrovert. I think that was your answer to that. So, but that openness, I feel like is, it's kind of like, it's not just something I want to do. And this, not specifically, this doesn't have to be this, but just, it's not, it's not just what I want. I feel like there's a burden
Yeah.
to be
I get that.
open,
Yeah.
and free and, giving. Like this year, one of the things, I haven't even told you this, but one of the things that I want to do is, and this has nothing to do with being free, maybe, but being open to like really truly loving people where they are and the homeless population. That's something that's been,
With
it's
our
a
kids.
burden with
Yeah.
our kids and with me. And so, what are we going to do to make a difference this year? Like, I'm already thinking of ideas of how we're going to make a difference. And
We
I
need to
don't know
get
what
back
that.
to that. I think we all, as a team, our launch team and leadership team for Freedom City, I was thinking about that because I was going and revisiting our website and building some documentation. But one of the things that we all wrote in kind of our vision statement for our church is that piece. And we've been focusing a lot, appropriately. So we're just getting started, but we've been focusing so much on the Sunday experience. So, the worship and the preaching and, that kind of stuff. But we really need to get back to the being a part and touching the community. I think we both have, we all do have some ideas on how we could do that, but we need to definitely do that.
Yeah. But just being open.
Yeah.
And yeah. So maybe my word is open. Maybe
Or
my word
free.
is free.
Yeah.
And
Could be 2 words, right?
yeah,
Open
sure.
and free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do feel like this is going to be another year of change for
No change. Scale.
well, there's going to be a year of change for my family, for my family at large.
Yeah.
There's
Your
going to be a
natural
lot
family.
of changes. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some transitions and changes
Yeah.
that we're going to have to help and facilitate. So that's going
Not
to.
have to, so just to say, but like I will want to.
Well,
I
I
want to
say
say,
have to in the sense that the timing of it,
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
the nature of it, that this work
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's that. There's going to be a lot of changes and hopefully we do a big vacation somewhere. I'm thinking for your 50th birthday.
Who's turning 50?
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at a place in the Bahamas. I'm not even going to lie. We'll
I mean,
see. But I'd love to.
when you turn 50, it's really just about wanting to be home and in bed. So
Yeah.
maybe that's my 50th birthday.
I'm saying this too, though. I'm looking for a way to turn it into a missions trip.
Oh, yeah? Well,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something you and I talked about, and we need to wrap this up. But, we want our kids. That's something, it's definitely on my mind. If it's not 26, it's definitely 27. Missions needs to be part of their childhood. And our oldest, their childhood is quickly escaping us. So we got to get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of ideas for even our family trips. If you say 4 this year and I can work on planning those, that's what you said at the beginning and we can tweak that. but maybe we add some element of serving
Yeah.
in each of those, just not just going to relax, but yes, definitely relaxing, but meeting a need somewhere.
Relaxing is the central theme. No exhaustion masquerading as faithfulness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that as much as we do, you were saying being busy, busy, busy. The Bible says that our righteousness, what is it? It's as filthy
Filthy
rags. Like
rags.
it's
Yeah.
like that's a
And I think righteousness can go, you can combine that with um, your service, your
yeah,
ministry,
right
right?
living,
Yeah.
right? Righteousness, I think, is like right
Yeah.
living,
It says
doing
filthy
what's
rags.
right. So like it's never gonna. I don't want to say it's never gonna be enough, but
It's never going to be
But
enough
it
to
doesn't
earn.
have to be.
No,
No.
no, no, no. I think that's the appropriate way to say it. It is not going to be enough to earn salvation or God's love. It should be just I see it as like tithing, right? Or the
Mm-hmm.
widow's mite, even something more dramatic. It's insignificant in the grand scheme of things, yet it's precious to God. So
Mm-hmm.
you should do it, but recognize your best is still a widow's mite, right?
Right.
You're not,
And be okay with that.
you're okay with that.
You know.
I always
Anyways.
pray, I think I probably pray this before every service that we have at Freedom City. God, multiply our efforts. I always say that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm so limited. So if I'm, preaching, or whatever's happening, I know, you know, what I can do is just very, very limited. So,
Mm-hmm.
ultimately we need God to multiply our efforts.
Yeah.
All right, Christy, closing words.
I'm just hopeful um for a hopeful for a hopeful new year, for a year of hope, of progress, of freedom.
Amen.
Yeah, I don't have last words. I don't know. I just want to live my life as a witness and a testimony of God's goodness, grace, mercy, and reflect that though. I want to be more gracious this year than I've ever been in my life.
I think
More loving than I've ever been in my life.
abundant living, that's kind
Mm.
of what I'm looking forward to. Living abundant. And that doesn't mean money. I'll take it, but abundant living in terms of fulfillment,
Yeah, a
purpose.
fullness, a
Yeah.
completeness, a wholeness.
That's the
Yeah.
promise of God. And
Yeah.
we want to
We
claim
are
that.
complete in him. Yeah. I love that.
Yep. So yeah. So that's it. Thanks for watching, listening. If you're in the Piedmont Triad and you're looking for a church live, check us out. We meet every Sunday, 10 a.m. at Southwest Guilford High School in the auditorium. Would love to have you. We need help. Please, please come help us. We need musicians and people, all kind of stuff, all
Yeah.
kind of good
And so
stuff.
when we say that we need help, it's more like,
Here's your opportunity.
well, yes, but also like, let's join arms and let's build something great
Yes.
together.
Amen.
Let's recognize people's talents and abilities and let them love and lead in the way that the Lord has created them
And if
to
you need
do.
a vending machine at your business,
Now here we are.
snacksmartsolutions.com. Check us out. And yeah, that's it. All right. Let's go get lunch, Christy. We love you all. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll try to do more. Bye.